Just making sure the stream is live. Here, it looks like we're live. So, what's up? Welcome to Geek Culture Weekly Tonight, Geek Culture Tonight, live, whatever you want to call it. This is a live stream all about geek culture, all about all the things that encompass the wonderful hobby that we have of geek culture. So, if you're watching this and enjoying the live, thanks for watching live. Hope to do more of this, hopefully multiple times a week. And I always say hopefully because you never know how this turns out. But if you're not watching live, it's a good way to just digest some of the few days at a time because the news cycle in geek culture happens so fast. Of geek culture news, all in a condensed little place. Sorry, having a little bit of issues here because with the phone and things. So let's see if we're back. Okay, we're back. So I don't know what you heard, but this is the latest retro. I'm Brian Drake. Follow me on Twitter at the latest retro. We're doing board game, comics, video games, movies, geek culture, anything you can think of, tabletop stuff, anything you can think of geek centric. We're doing it here, and we're doing it for commentary, news, and all that sort of stuff. So tonight will be a little bit shorter, unless we have anybody who wants to kind of contribute ideas or thoughts or anything like that into what we're doing here. But first, we're going to talk about a couple different things. You notice back here I've got the Indiana Jones play set here from Disneyland, Disney World. Here's the thing. I don't want to start off on a negative note, but I saw a piece of news today that absolutely drove me crazy because Indiana Jones is my favorite franchise of all time, period. Like, I love Raiders of the Lost Ark. I love The Last Crusade. Sean Connery makes almost anything better, right? It's Sean Connery, it's Nazis, it's, getting beat up and brutalized by the Holy Grail. It's pretty great stuff. And then you got Raiders for the first one, which was amazing. You got Temple of Doom, which is okay. Fun fact, it happens before Raiders. And then you've got Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and you're just like, okay, at least it's Indiana Jones. However, today something happened. I had known they were going to do an Indiana Jones 5 for a good while now. It's been kind of the story, right? Spielberg's supposed to be in the director's chair. However, today it was announced that Jonathan Kasdan would be doing the screenplay for Indiana Jones 5. And all my excitement and all the level of wonder and awe that I had for this movie really dimmed. Because here's the thing. Jonathan Kasdan is... I'm not really sure why it keeps cutting off like that. I'll have to get that figured out. But anyway, wherever I was, Jonathan Kasdan writes a lot of things in these scripts, and you go, that's not Star Wars, that's just you. And so, Solo had a lot of that tension to it. But that's not even what I care about. What I care about is this dude gets on interviews and makes the weirdest statements about America, like, not America in like the patriotism way, but like, I just imagine there are places like that you can go where people still know their neighbors. I'm like, yeah, like most of the country. Like, if you don't live in New York or LA or one of these places, there are most of these places you go to where people act like this caricature that he built up in his mind that he wished was a real thing. I'm like, dude, let me get this figured out real quick. Why I keep having issues here with why it's why does it keep cutting out like that? If you know why it keeps cutting out, just let me know over here. I'm not entirely sure why it keeps cutting out over here, but it's kind of irritating me. But anyway, Jonathan Kasdan, he writes these weird things, and now he's getting Indiana Jones 5, and I'm a little bit bummed about that because, as I said, I absolutely love Indiana Jones, and so seeing it turned over to him, it's just going to irritate me, honestly, because we're going to get all the things that we had about Solo and about the fandom wars that are going on right now, right? No matter what it is, whether it's board games or... Give me just a second. Okay, let's see if that kind of fixes things. I turned off the auto lock on my phone, so hopefully that will get everything back to going. If it doesn't, we'll see what we can do from this point. Getting a little frustrated with it. Yeah, okay. We're back here. I don't know if it's my phone just locking or whatever it is, but what I was saying was fandom rage and irritations, right? That's what we're in Star Wars currently. We're in it in comics with all these different stories going on in comics and video games and board games now even. You're hearing it before Gen Con. Things like this are starting to ramp up where we're trying to pit certain groups of fans versus other groups of fans, and it just irritates the mess out of me. So I don't want to see that with Indiana Jones. Granted, the fandom for Indiana Jones is not quite as huge as the Star Wars fandom. It's not the same thing. So I doubt it'll affect it quite as bad here. But I just know they're going to do this weird passing of the torch off into somebody else who's not who I want to watch for the rest of my life. I mean, Harrison Ford's up there in age anyway. So So that's the Jonathan Kasdan Indiana Jones 5 news. It's a bit of a downer. On some good news today, let's move over to the video game side sort of things. I beat Super Metroid today on my SNES Classic, and oh my gosh, I've never beaten it before. This is crazy. I grew up in just the right time for the Super Nintendo. Davey, my brother, and I, we had a regular Nintendo, as we used to call it, NES. And then we got the Super Nintendo from launch and just played all of it, until it phased out. But I never played Super Metroid. He always did. He always played Chrono Trigger and things like that. Love those games. I'm a big Mega Man fan. But it turns out that Super Metroid is probably one of the greatest games of all time, and I ended up beating it today. So happy. What a great day to just go back and play a classic of that. So now I'm trying to get my hands on like all the Game Boy Advance or 3DS different Metroid games that are out there, because oh my gosh, the system works. If you play Super Metroid today, it feels just as clean, just as good, just as nice as it ever did back, 20 something years ago when the game came out. So man, that was fun. So if you got a Super NES Classic, or if you got a copy of the game some other way, you know what? Just go back and play that thing, because oh my gosh, it holds up. The controls are tight. Everything is just good. It felt good on the SNES Classic playing it with the original controller. So beating Super Metroid now at 31 years old really felt great, considering it's 2018, and you can do the math there on how old I was whenever it came out. So that's what I've got for video games this week. Didn't have a lot of news other than again, there's more infighting among fans and all this sort of stuff, and then between companies, between Sony saying, well, we don't really want to do cross-play with Fortnite. I've never played Fortnite. I downloaded it on my phone. I was like, no, I can't do it. Deleted it. But so just know it's usually just a lot of anger and outrage going on in fandom right now. But yet again, let's talk about something exciting, something fun. Before we get to kind of that main topic to wrap things up, I want to talk about two other things. First of all, we'll talk about a tabletop thing coming soon from WizKids HeroClix. You see all these HeroClix behind me here. I'm a big fan of HeroClix. This is what got me into any kind of the board game hobby. Basically, it's this miniatures game where you take your characters and you fight each other. You build your teams of like Spider-Man, Batman, Shazam, Kingdom Come, Flash, anything you can imagine. You throw them out there, you pit them against each other, and you fight. And so HeroClix has got a great set coming out, and this excited me because all of the geek culture people out there love this show. It's one of those things that everybody loved it. It was Batman the Animated Series. So HeroClix's next set is going to be a Batman the Animated Series set. These pieces are awesome. It's miniature sculptures of characters from now to be Batman the Animated Series. The rules are relatively simple to learn. You've plighted your characters against your other, somebody else's team. It's easy to pack up. It's easy to travel. It's just a great game to get into. Plus, there's a little bit of random element, so if you have that addictive behavior, it's terrible for you at the same time as it's wonderful. But go check out WizKids. They're not paying me to say this. I love the game that much to where you just go out and check it out, see what's going on with that animated series thing, especially if you're a fan of the animated series. They've also got Ninja Turtles based currently on the arcade games. They're pixelated, really. It's really cool. So that's it for board games. I'm sorry, for video games. Also tonight, for our inaugural address, we're going to talk about a board game that just makes me happy. My copy is really heavy because I got the insert and all the expansions that go with it. This game is called Scythe by Jamie Stegmaier, Stonemaier Games. This is one of the best board games ever made. Period, full stop, hands down. Don't get me wrong. I love a lot of games. Scythe is amazing. Here's the thing. You have friends who make jokes about Settlers Catan. You notice they still say Settlers because they're not in the hobby. That's not a knock. That's not a slam against them. That just tells you where people are engaged and whether they're kind of up on the fact that, Asmodee bought this company or whatever, or if they're just like, yeah, after church we used to play Settlers Catan or whatever. Here's the thing. This game is the game that you want to grow deeper with people with, because it has hexes. You go, hey, see those hexes? And it has resources, except they're not cards this time. They're little wonderful either wood or resin resources. Cool thing is your resources stay on your hexes. You have these awesome looking plastic mechs that you move out there, and then your player board has little slots in it where each of your wooden pieces fit into it. So it's got a lot of familiar things for people who played games like Catan, and as well as some brand new mechanics to really drive people deeper into the hobby and get them excited about just beat God of War myself. Such a great story. You know what? I've been hearing, I got distracted over here. Not distracted, but in a good way. I have not played any of the God of War games except maybe like one back when it came out, but I keep hearing that God of War is amazing. And so my buddy's going to lend it to me and I'm going to play through it because Yeah, I mean, so he's already spoiled it for me. He's one of those friends that tells you the spoiler before he's like, oh yeah, but you don't mind if I tell you, do you? I'm like, you literally just told me. So, but yeah, I'll still play through it and see, what he left out or regretted to tell me. But Scythe is a game that you want to get people into. I mean, look at this art, for instance. My gosh, the art is absolutely amazing. That's a legit strain, by the way. That's not like a strain for the camera. The art is amazing, and it looks just like this. And this is what your pieces look like in the game here. So if you can see, your pieces, your plastic pieces look like this here. And then there's a picture of the map there. You can see it's a beautiful map, just gorgeously drawn. These little hexes are great because you can get all your stuff out there on the board. Nothing leaves the board really, so it's kind of a cool game. A little bit of fighting, but the fighting is very Euro style game, so it doesn't really feel like a fighting game. A lot of area control, a lot of resource management, and a little bit of worker placement, even though it's I guess more like action selection. So that is our board game of tonight, would be Scythe by Stonemaier Games. You really have to go check this game out because it's absolutely fantastic. It is an amazing game from an amazing company. Jamie's a good guy, and the company they do is just everything they've ever made is great. My buddy Max, who I know through YouTube and Twitter and all that stuff, he did a great video on viticulture. You need to go check out on his channel at oh my gosh, my mind just blanked. Max, put it on. If you're watching this, Max, put a link to your viticulture video in here because I want people to see it because it's great. Just a funny guy. He's really great at doing videos. Like, he does actual videography versus just sitting in front of a shelf. But that's it for that topic for board games. Let's round out on something good newsy, and we'll see how long this takes us. Again, tonight will be rather short compared to what it can be in the future, depending on how many people talk and comments and all that stuff. And you see how distracted and easily distracted I get when someone says something to me in a good way, because then I can look over and be like, yeah, I agree. I agree with that 100%, or no, I haven't played that. So rounding it out, I saw today, comicbook.com, ICV2, all these different places. The big news was finally announced by DC Comics. DC Universe is the new streaming service from DC Comics. It's an app where you can stream. Get this. This is what I want to just tell you about it first before I comment on it. The movies, their TV shows, and their comics. Marvel Unlimited is a great service, right? You get to, peruse the catalog in the past of all these Marvel comics comics throughout the years. DC, though, I'm a DC guy, hands down. I love all DC more than Marvel, basically. Like, any DC character to me stacks up better than Marvel. I love the Flash. I love weird, obscure characters like Golden Age, Alan Scott, Green Lantern. I love, the Flashpoints. I'm looking at my HeroClix up here. I love Jay Garrick and all these people. Kingdom Come, all these great storylines. So I'm a DC fan, like, massively. And so having this service finally come out is so exciting, because Marvel Unlimited, you could stream comics. You could stream comics from years past, issues up to, I think it was 6 months. So a lot of really cool things you could catch up when you pay a monthly fee. DC Universe, though, the app is a little bit different because it's got their wonderful selection of movies. Now, the Marvel Universe has 18 movies, but if you start thinking about the DC Universe, they have all the classic movies, all your, Christopher Reeve Superman, your Michael Keaton Batmans, all the animated movies, as well as Batman the Animated Series, all the CW DC shows, all of these things that have been done over the years, DC Universe-wise, are now going to be on this app, including the comics. So I am so happy for this. I don't know how it's all going to shake out because it says it's hand-picked and curated, and anytime that happens, it's like, yeah, but I don't really like what you like, so just let me pick my own stuff, So I'm curious how it's going to all shake out. Sometime in the fall, I think it said it's coming out, but we've got, movies, comics, exclusive merch, all that sort of stuff coming soon, and TV shows. I cannot wait for DC Universe app, so be on the lookout for that. Let me know if you hear any updates about that. But that's it for tonight, basically. I just wanted to kind of just do this, basically, where we come and we talk about the news a little bit. I'm going to get a little bit more into some of these topics, a little bit meatier, tear at them a little bit, like some of the controversy that's going on in board gaming or in comics and things like that, and just give a little bit of give and take on that. And I would love to hear your opinion, whichever side you're on. Here's the beautiful thing about it. This is me sitting down having a conversation with you just so we can talk about these topics that are out there. I don't care what side you're on. I just want to enjoy geek culture together, and I don't want to push anybody out of the hobby. I don't want anybody else pushing anybody else out of the hobby. You know what I'm saying? Hobby, geek culture, atmosphere, whatever you want to call it. let's just have fun and enjoy the crap we enjoy. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of, let's see, real quick. I dig how everyone has their own unique apps now, but man, do those monthly fees add up. I love Track, but I haven't seen the new series because, yeah. Okay, see, that's what I was thinking too. You got to see it for free on Netflix. I was thinking that same thing though about the fees. And well, let's just say real quick while I'm thinking about this, let's just say you add up all the fees you've got. So Netflix is $9.99 a month. Amazon Prime, if you pay the $110 a year, so that's 120 plus. What is it? I hear noise in my house. I'm not sure what it is. It's one of the kids. Does that make me a terrible dad? Probably, but it's bedtime. They should be asleep right now. $110, $120 is $230 plus if you have cable or anything like that. You know, you have to pay for Wi-Fi or something like that. But then you go, well, let's say Hulu, or let's say what's the other one? I feel like I'm missing one. Amazon, Hulu, Netflix. Those are really the big three. But then Marvel Unlimited, DC Universe apps, the CBS All Star, whatever it's called, like he's talking about over there. Yeah, it does start to add up. So eventually we're going to have to start picking and choosing. Although somebody said, yeah, I can see the future of this. Eventually someone's going to package together all these choices of content to where you can just pay one bill for all this package and we'll be back at cable. Like, yeah, it's kind of, I guess that is kind of the other extreme of it, but it's going to make us choose, unfortunately, some of the things. Or you can do the thing you're not supposed to do and share your password. I'm kidding. Don't do that. But what I mean is, you know, just, yeah, I guess that's it, really. You're right. You're going to have to just kind of pick what you want the most, or you take advantage of those free trials when they come out, like Cobra Kai. I heard that didn't do so well. Cobra Kai was amazing, by the way. The show was awesome, but I heard the idea didn't work quite as good as people thought because they offered a free month, and they're only 10, 30-minute episodes. So people got the free pass for YouTube Red, binged it, and canceled it without paying a dime. So, yeah, yeah, no one shares those things. No, of course not. What are you talking about? I don't know anything about that at all, ever. But that's gonna wrap it up for tonight. I'll be looking at the comments below, kind of to see and add to what people were thinking. And any suggestions, I'm open to it. You know, I'm not super defensive when it comes to critique, especially since I'm asking you for it. You know, right now. But anything you want to talk about, let me know. Yeah, see, that's exactly what we did. We did the same thing. We watched it, canceled our YouTube Red. So I know if it's us and there's other people talking in the chat here, I know it can't just be us. Like, you know, maybe they should have just been like, hey, we're just going to charge a fee, an intro fee, or pay for the episode. Now, I would have done that. I'd have paid for the episode in a heartbeat for Cobra Kai. But I'm Brian Drake in the latest retro here on Geek Culture. What am I calling this? Geek Culture Tonight Live, something like that. This is too many words. It probably won't be that. I'll have more topics, have more ideas, more issues, more things to really discuss. But this is kind of the format. We're going to break down all the big tiers of geek culture, comics, games, movies, whatever I left out just then when I said it. We're going to talk about big news from the thing. From those topics. So send me your ideas. Thanks for watching, and until next time, I'll see you. And I'm going to awkwardly end the stream because I've got to reach up here.